The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson. This is Ed McMahon along with Doc Severinsen and the NBC Orchestra inviting you to join Johnny and his guest, David Steinberg. Our annual visit from the bird callers of Piedmont, California, and the mighty Carson art players. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
Sure, it's very nice of you, but where will you be 3 jokes from now when I need you? You sound in a good mood tonight.
Great try.
Friday night, and I want to mention that any jokes you don't finish here in the theater, you can take home in foil. Put them in the microwave in the morning, and they'll be like you never heard them before. A reminder. Surgeon General warns that booing may be hazardous to your health also. Good night. You brought out the clown suit for tonight. Oh, yes, that's clown music. Anyway, I know why you're in a good mood. We have a 3-day weekend coming up.
Right.
Right. I invented the 3-day weekend, and I don't know if you know this, I get a royalty whenever anyone else takes one off. No, I don't. But actually, it used to be called Veterans Day, right? It was Armistice Day and then Veterans Day, and I guess it's now officially Memorial Day, and which brings to mind your career.
Oh.
Ed's military career was, did you know that Ed was given the French Medal of Honor? What happened? He threw his body over a vineyard during a German bombing. Said they're not going to get those grapes, Charlie. And Ed was the first man to hit Omaha Beach with a sun reflector and a beer cooler. I'll never. Anyway, you're out here, and if you're probably on vacation, there are lots of things to do this weekend. Believe me. Now, on Fairfax Avenue, you go down and see the premiere of the first ethnic adventure movie. Indiana Horowitz and the Temple of Beth Sholem is playing. You know how many big movies are opening up this weekend? Are you familiar with a picture named Ghostbusters? I didn't invest in that when I missed that. I put my money in a film called Dustbusters. It's about a chambermaid who discovers that her vacuum cleaner is possessed by the ghost of Thelma Ritter. What, Fred? Thank you, Fred. Fred liked that one. I'm getting fed up. Are you a little fed up with all the science fiction movies? One opened today. Star Trek and the Search for Spock's Luggage. Are you aware that there is a new Star Trek movie called In Search for Spock? That's true. They had to hire Leonard Nimoy to go in search of himself. Weird. Well, I imagine some of you people have traveled from distant places to be here, and I hope you like Burbank because the gas you were going to use to get home just went to the bottom of the Persian Gulf. So, sinking tanker stories are not too good, are they? What else has happened today? Did you know that China is sending 2 giant pandas over here to the Olympics as a friendly gesture? Absolutely true. Now, pandas do not have any trouble finding a place to live. Morris the cat is renting his Bel Air estate. 2 pandas. Here's some show business news.
Oh.
What?
No, it's good.
NBC just the other day unveiled their new fall schedule to the affiliates. They don't know when to leave well enough alone. I think it was a mistake adding Richard Simmons to the A-team. Well, there's like, imagine him with a machine gun. All right, people, tummy toners, come on, I mean it this time. Get out there and move. How many of you know whose birthday it is today? And I'm not making this up. He was born in 1790. Does the name Joseph Guillotine mean anything to you? The guillotine. He invented the guillotine. And apparently he was a genius at marketing. He called it the amazing head-o-matic. He sold them through an 800 number. And then he later came out, little known, came out with his Track 2 model. First blade cut off your head, and the second gave you a close shave so you'd look good in the basket. Anyway, they don't use the guillotine anymore in France. They are much more civilized. Now they dice you in a Cuisinart. Anyway, tonight we've got a good show. We have a very funny young man, Mr. David Steinberg, is with us this evening. Actor, director, writer, and something we have done, I think, for the last 8 or 9 years on this show. We have had the winners, the finalists in the Piedmont bird calling contest from Piedmont, California. Some youngsters come out, and it's absolutely fascinating. And the mighty Carson art players will perform tonight on this stage. We'll be back. Thank you. Doctor? Thank you, Doc. We are back. We have David Steinberg, Piedmont bird callers. Before we bring Mr. Waxdeck out and the youngsters from Piedmont, California, I would like to take just a couple of moments here to make a personal observation. I have been trying to contain my anger most of the day, and I assume a lot of you have watched the television news and the radio news, and I feel compelled to respond to certain allegations made today in the John DeLorean trial. The statements that were made about me are totally false, and beyond that, there is nothing further to say. I want to clear that up. Anyway, now let's get back to the business at hand. This is something we have done on the show, I think, for the past 7 years. It's almost become part of Americana now, and we look forward to it. We have 7 students tonight from Piedmont High School in Piedmont, California, who competed in the 21st Annual Leonard J. Waxdeck Bird Calling Contest. You laugh, but when you hear them, birds couldn't do it this well. This is the 7th year that Mr. Waxdeck and the contestants have appeared exclusively. Exclusively, that means...
Right. Only place.
Only place. Would you welcome warmly, please, Leonard Waxdeck. Leonard. Well, there's only one time a year the band gets to play that. And they pull the chart out just for your appearance tonight. Congratulations. I heard it on the national news. This has become a national event now, hasn't it?
Well, it certainly has. As a matter of fact, Mr. Carson, since we've been doing your show, it seems that new problems are created. For example, this year, we had to advise the coverage, the television, radio, and newspapers that if they wanted to cover the event, that they had to make preparations before, and we turned several away. We had most of the networks there and most of the newspapers.
Right. Now, this started out, we've talked about this before, in a relatively small way. First contest, how many people and how many contestants?
Well, 21 years ago, we started out in the old biology laboratory with about 25 people, and I thought it was over, and we did it the second year, and somebody noticed the contest, and from that point on, it just seemed to evolve into what we have today. And we were pretty well under control until you found us, and then, of course, the thing has just gone out of hand.
Snowball. Huh?
Yes.
How many people showed up this year?
This year, we seat 500 in the theater at Piedmont High School, and we received permission from the fire department to place some chairs in the aisle. So we got about 600. We turned away about 1,200 requests for tickets.
People get angry that they didn't get in?
Well, yes, that's a recurring problem, and all that we can say is we don't have the room. Of course, and I talked to you before, there were suggestions made that we use the Paramount Theater in Oakland, which holds about 2,500.
Right.
And if you recall, you and I discussed it, and you thought it'd be better to keep it on campus, and we have been doing that.
I think it does. It gives it a little more local flavor,
Yes.
and if you get that successful, you should keep it confined. Would you explain again the contest to the people who don't know how this works?
Well, the way the contest works is about in October of the school year, students begin getting involved in the bird calls, and they listen to tapes, and they hire coaches, and they go out on birding expeditions and listen to birds. And
You have preliminary auditions to...
oh, yes.
Yeah.
We had, this year we were up a little bit. We had about 125 students attempt to do bird calls out of a student body of about 750, and finally ended up on the program with 39 that we selected. So we ran auditions and eliminations.
Okay, now, you invited every year, if I remember, celebrities to come
Oh, yes.
and attend the contest. Who did
Yes.
you invite this year?
Well, of course, we invited the President of the United States, we always do, and he sent us a nice letter regretting that he could not attend, but best wishes. We received a nice letter from the counselor to the President, Edward Meese III, who's from the Bay Area. Alan Cranston sent a nice letter, and Katharine Hepburn always
Sent a nice letter.
to us. Brooke Shields, who's at Princeton, was on her way to see us, but the rigors of academe demanded that she remain at the university and finish up her work.
Or she would have been there. Yeah.
Yes, and then we received letters from Liechtenstein, Oslo, Margaret Thatcher.
You invite the heads of state?
Oh, yes. Oh, and I got one interesting letter from the newspaper Le Monde in Paris.
Right.
And they said they would be very happy to send a reporter to cover this prestigious event if we would buy the airplane ticket. And I discussed that with my board of directors, and we didn't want to set a precedent, so we
Just accepted
said
a
no.
nice letter instead?
Yes.
Have any major figures appeared that you've invited?
Oh, yes. We've had some very interesting people. We've had some great ball players, Rick Barry, John Brody.
Oh, that's good.
We've also had some ambassadors. We've had some state senators appear. The governor appeared at one time.
Good.
I did get one letter that I never the likes of which I never received. It came back unopened, and it was addressed to Michael Jackson. And there was a little note on it. It said, not responding, or not opening because we don't respond to unsolicited mail.
Oh, really?
First time that ever happened, yes. We were disappointed that he didn't show up this year.
Well, maybe next year he'll open it and then send you a letter.
Probably, yes.
Right. Anyway, you're going to have a nice collection of famous letters. I will take a break here, then we're going to come back, and you will meet these 7 youngsters, and also the winner of the contest this year, right? So stay where you are. We'll be right back in just a moment.
We won $20,000.
I won $150,000.
I won $250,000 from Publishers Clearinghouse.
The new Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes is in the mail now with $2 million in prizes. With our double prize stamp, all the biggest prizes double. Double. Double.
Those contests are all the same.
That's what I used to think.
Watch for this sign of the new Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes. When it comes to winning, there's no place like our house.
This is the poster. It was donated, I guess, by an ad agency in St. Louis.
Yes.
So you are becoming internationally world famous here. Okay, you want to introduce the first caller tonight and tell us a little bit about him?
Yes. Our first contestant is a senior. She is a cheerleader, very active in school plays and school government. She plans to travel abroad for 6 months and then matriculate at the University of California in Berkeley. May I present Andrea Gunther Mueller.
Andrea?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here tonight to tell you about a close, personal friend of mine, the Cardinal. No, he's not a football or a baseball player, nor is he the head of the church. He is the most handsome creature with the high, pointed crest and the most entrancing black spot at the base of his heavy red bill. My infatuation with this gorgeous bird began last summer in Colorado. But since then, I have learned that he inhabits most of the western states. Well, anyhow, when I first saw him, he was perched on a pine tree outside my window. I heard his beautiful call as he sang out to his plain little brown mate. Well, I knew then that she was no competition for me, so I set out to lure him with my call. But first, I made sure to stun him with my smarts. So I called to him his scientific name, Richmondana cardinalis. And then I began to speak to him in that sweet, melodious tune. Well, that day I swept the cardinal off his perch. And I'm here tonight to tell you exactly what I said to him. Thank you.
Okay. When Andrea finally got to it, she got cooking there.
Our next contestants are a duet. The young lady in the white lace dress is a senior, a cheerleader, and a member of the Powder Puff football team. She plans to join her family in the south of France and continue her education in the fall of the year. The other young lady is also a cheerleader and a veteran bird caller. She's a senior. She plans to matriculate at a school of nursing, and she is with us today, and it is Diana Sinclair, and Kelly Anger is the first young lady. May I present both of them?
All right, ladies.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last summer, Kelly and I decided to do something really different. Instead of heading north for Tahoe,
We headed really north for Alaska. It wasn't hard to find a job on the Alaskan pipeline, if you know the right people.
but the work was grueling, and we spent most of the time complaining
And arguing. So for a change of pace, Diane and I decided to take a sail down the Alaskan coast.
And it was on this great day that we discovered Oceanodrama leucora,
more commonly known as the leech's petrel.
We couldn't help noticing the similarities between this bird and our boat. Both bounded about erratically, changing speed and direction.
Diane and I soon became intrigued with this small bird, and after many hours of intense research, we discovered the leech's petrel is 7.5 to 9 inches large and is noted for its conspicuous white rump.
Not to be confused, however, with the black petrel, which is noted for its conspicuous black rump.
Rump, notwithstanding, it is the voice of the leech's petrel that intrigued us the most.
The petrel exults rhythmic falsetto notes in long cooning trills.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, Diane and I would like to do our perfect rendition of the leech's petrel.
Those girls could pretty well scare off any prospective dates, couldn't they? Make a move on those girls, and that's all over. Okay.
Our next caller is a senior. He's an all-league linebacker. He is also an Eagle Scout. He plans to matriculate at Santa Rosa Junior College in the fall, where he will continue to pursue his career in football and ornithology. Mr. Kenneth Moss.
All right, Kenneth.
Good evening. Ever since my days as a youngster, watching Donald and Daffy, I've been interested in ducks. At first, my interest was casual, but as I grew older, I became obsessed with the study of ducks. My intellectual curiosity has carried me across the continental U.S. However, one duck has eluded me. Somateria mellissima, better known as the common eider. I feel a certain closeness to this particular duck. He sports a thick neck, has large drumsticks, flies sluggishly, and in contrast to his black belly, his back is strikingly white. Immediately following graduation, I am planning to travel to Alaska, where the eider is primarily found. And perhaps we can converse to each other as follows. Thank you.
Our next contestant is a senior. She is this year's homecoming queen. She is a track star. She plans to leave for Hong Kong in August, where she will spend a year as an AF student studying abroad. I would like to present Meredith Bailey.
Meredith?
Good evening. After I decided to do a bird call again this year, I paid a visit to my bird calling coach in order to select a call. I said to my coach, "What bird call should I do?" And he said, "Well, I got this interesting recording from Cornell University of some strange West African bird." And I said, "Really? What's it called?" And he said, "Its scientific name is Haliaetus vocifer, and its common name is the African fish eagle." And I said, "That sounds like a terrific bird. I'll take it." After a few days of research, I again appeared in his office. "This eagle is really fascinating," I said. "It's got a white head and tail, is light clay brown in color, develops star patterns under its wings at the age of 4, breathes year-round, and catches mainly catfish with its talons for food." But then I said that I thought I should do the call of the baby eagle as well as the adult, because I wanted to show how the call of the African fish eagle develops with age. And so I asked my coach, "How is this for a baby eagle?" And he said, "That sounds great, Meredith, but now can I hear the call of the adult African fish eagle?" And I said, "Sure, here it is." Thank you.
Tell you what, we have one more? Two more? Okay, I tell you what. Just so we don't get behind here, we're just going to stop here. We have two more. We'll do this commercial first, and we'll come back for the two finishers. All right, stay where you are. All right, if you just joined us, you are seeing the finals, and we will have for you in a moment the winner of the contest. We have two more contestants, okay?
All right, our next contestant is a senior. He's an all-league soccer player and varsity track star. He plans to matriculate at the University of California in Davis. I would like you to meet Carlos Salinas.
Carlos?
Have you ever heard the shrill of a bomb being dropped from an airplane? Well, maybe you have in the movies, but one day when I was walking to school, I heard a similar sound to that of a falling bomb, and I thought, oh boy, are the Russians here? But instead of a big blast at the end of the noise, there was an innocent little tweet, tweet. My expertise in ornithology immediately informed me that it was the call of the Catherpus mexicanus, better known as the canyon wren. Wandering through the park to find this little bird, I quickly glanced upon a ridge, and sure enough, there he was, his beak pointing upwards, exposing his white breast and throat as he emitted his song. His nest was a little cup formed in the crevice of a rock, where his beautiful song was enhanced by the acoustical properties of the rock formation surrounding him. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now present to you the call of the canyon wren. Thank you.
Okay.
Now, our last caller is a junior. She's a member of the varsity tennis team and soccer teams. She was also crowned yesterday as the champion of our 21st annual. May I present the winner, Jane Martz.
All right, Jane.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Just recently, my family and I decided to go back east to visit some great colleges and universities. I thought Sunday would be a day of rest and relaxation, but much to my surprise, my brother discovered in the local newspaper that Sunday was the town's annual 10-kilometer run. Being a family of enthusiastic runners that we are, my dad was up bright and early the next morning, signing us all up for this race. So there I was at 10 o'clock the next morning, running slowly and painfully through the New England countryside. I had just taken a wrong turn, and I thought every new step would be my last. It was awful. All of a sudden, from the branches of the highest tree, I heard a melodic tune. I immediately recognized it to be my favorite bird, Spizella pusella, more commonly known as the field sparrow. This tiny little bird was approximately 5.5 inches in length and wearing a rust-colored coat of feathers. He had a pink bill, white chest, and white rings encircling his eyes. His tune began on a sweet, slurring note and ended in a trill, much like a bouncing ping-pong ball. After hearing this breathtaking sound, I began to run faster and faster. I caught up with my brother and even outsprinted my dad to the end. What a great day it turned out to be. Now, for your enjoyment, I will reproduce for you the exact rendition of Spizella pusella, more commonly known as the field sparrow. Thank you.
Okay. Now, tell you what, it's I said you. Hold on. Let me come out here. Now. There you are, the winner and the finalist. Stay there a second, everyone. I've said this, I've said this before on the show, and I really mean it. You always bring such a fine representation of young people to the show, and we're just delighted you can be with us every year.
Well, Mr. Carson, it's a pleasure that you invite us back.
We find all the highlights. And we've always finished, you probably know this, we've always finished with everybody doing their individual bird call all at the same time. If you want to hear a cacophony of sound, this is it. On the count of 3, you all set? 1, 2, 3. All right. We'll be back in a moment. Bye, guys.
In this age of technology, what other skincare lotion can do more than Estee Lauder's Swiss Performing Extract? More than a moisturizer, it is a super nourishing lotion that makes dryness begin to disappear instantly. Tiny wrinkle lines less noticeable instantly. Estee Lauder's Swiss Performing Extract. You don't have to wait to see the difference. Swiss Performing Extract, part of Estee Lauder's skincare program at Emporium Capwell.
Memorial Day weekend traditionally marks the beginning of summer vacations when millions of Americans will be visiting our national parks. We're here in Yosemite National Park to interview a veteran of the Forest Service who'll give us some advice on camping out. Welcome, Ranger Johnny. here, Ranger Johnny.
Remember, only you can prevent forest fires. As the proctologists say, put that butt out.
Ranger Johnny, suppose a person saw a small fire in the park. How should he put it out?
Well, what I do, I use this six-pack of beer to put fire out.
You pour beer to put the fire out?
Now, that's a good idea. Pour the beer over the fire. All these years I've been drinking the beer and then later putting out the fire. Takes about 20 minutes longer that way.
Now, most men are not cut out to be forest rangers.
That's true. You gotta like to be alone. I had a lot of training in my previous job.
Which was?
I was a campaign manager for Alan Cranston. A lot of time alone.
Are there any female forest rangers?
Yes, sir. There's one female ranger for every 200 males.
How would I go about meeting her?
Go down that path about 100 yards and get in line. There's an open space between the fat hermit and the moose. He's a very popular ranger up here.
You know, it seems like you don't have much contact with the outside world.
Oh, sure I do. Tell me, how's President Eisenhower doing?
Ike is dead.
Ike's dead? Oh. What about Joan Crawford?
Well, she's dead.
Oh, God! Was that a mutual suicide pact?
No. They had no relation with one
Oh,
another.
thank God, that would have killed Mamie.
Boy, you have been out of touch a long time.
Lonely out here in the woods, isn't it? Whatever happened to that actor, Ronald Reagan, and his chimp Bonzo?
This is going to surprise you. You know, he went on to become president of the United States.
That doesn't surprise me in the least. He was a very bright fella. What happened to the guy he worked with, Reagan?
Boy, there's a lot you've been missing. We got planes that travel 2,000 miles an hour, computers that process billions of pieces of information in a split second.
Tell me something, will you?
Yeah.
You got anything to clear up this rash? Last spring, a titmouse tried to build its nest on me.
You're probably unaware that 15 years ago, an American actually walked on the moon.
That don't surprise me none. Spaceships land here in Yosemite National Park all the time.
What'd you say?
I mean, those spacemen sure look funny with their big green bodies and two heads.
You've seen extraterrestrials? They speak to you?
Yep. They ask the same old question everybody asks me here in the park.
And what's that?
What did I just step in? First question they ask.
You know one thing for sure, forest rangers.
We'll be through in a minute.
We're in the forest, there's no place to go.
You got it.
You know, forest rangers don't get the credit they deserve.
Well, that's gonna change real soon. One of those big Hollywood studios is making a moving picture about the life of a forest ranger.
And what will it be called?
They shoot beavers, don't they? That's what it's called.
Are you afraid of bears?
I like them. I hang out at beer bars.
Wait a minute, beer?
Beer bars. Hang out at beer bars.
Bear beer bars?
I like to listen to their jukebox. I like beer bar ballads.
Well, that's interesting.
I like bear baseball, too.
Wait a minute, bears don't play baseball?
You know why?
Why?
Because they can't find big enough batting helmets, that's why.
What do you mean?
Nobody makes big bear baseball batting helmets.
That's very informative.
I don't want to give you the wrong idea. I don't go to gay beer bars. It's just not my big bear bag to go to big bar bars. You know what I mean?
Some say the legendary creature Bigfoot has been seen around these parts.
I've never seen Bigfoot personally,
No.
but I think he may be nearby.
What makes you say that?
Let's see what we get with this. I found this toenail clip.
That's incredible.
$200 for that laugh.
Let me ask you something. Don't you get lonely out here all by yourself?
No, I don't.
No?
No.
Why is that?
Well, because I'm married.
Yes. Is there anything more you'd like to tell me about that?
I suppose so.
Why don't you try right now?
Okay. I got married, how long ago was it? About, 15 years ago.
15 years ago.
Uh-huh. Would you?
One day I'd like to meet the missus.
Would you like to meet the missus? Thank you. Sure. Come on out here, honey.
Wait a minute. You married a bear?
Yeah. What husband wouldn't give his right arm easy? What husband wouldn't give his right arm for a wife who sleeps 6 months a year?
Where are you going?
Out of this gate.
Nissan trucks are. Can this $59.99 Nissan haul 1,400 pounds?
Yep.
In a double-wall steel bed?
Yep.
With the most powerful standard engine in its class?
Yep.
Anyone else give you all this for a sticker price of $59.99?
Nope.
Only Nissan. Now, get low 8.8 annual percentage rate financing on any new Nissan truck. Only for a limited time at your Datsun dealer.
Oh,
Well, we certainly had
we had a
fun,
great
didn't we?
time in the woods.
You were just crying away. There are tears coming down your eyes.
Oh.
You didn't seem to have a heart in that one, Artie. My next guest is a good friend. He's very funny, multi-talented gentleman. He appears frequently in Atlantic City at Caesar's World. He's a fine director, actor. Has his own interview show called Stars with David Steinberg, which will be on again next Tuesday, June the 2nd. Would you welcome David Steinberg? Now, back me up on this. You were here when we ran through that once this afternoon, and did not I say easily, Bear's Big Barber with no problems at all?
I complimented you on
Came up and said, boy, that's not easy to say. The Big Bad Beer Bar.
Do it now, do it now.
I couldn't get through it at all.
I know. I know. What a night. That's a great night tonight, isn't it?
Yeah. We've had those kids out here. Did you see that spot?
Yes, yeah.
How you been? What's new?
I'm good. I'm real good, John.
Who's on your show this time?
This one has...
Have you done just one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You had Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. The last one was Burt Reynolds, Mel Brooks,
Yeah.
W. Moore, and Mr. T.
Good one.
Thank you. This one is Bo Derek, and Sally Field, and Jane Seymour, and Donna Mills.
You get some pretty good, pretty
Yeah,
good
not
name
bad.
there. Well, what'd you think of Bo Derek? Be honest.
Well, she's different than her image. Like, I think people think of her as a dumb blonde who is controlled by John Derek and all that. I don't think she's that way at all. I think she's very, she looks after herself. She looks after her own business. I think it's very surprising. She's very revealing in this interview. It's great fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yes, she's, you see,
Said very
you have that
revealing
image.
and right away.
People are different than you think they are. When we see everyone, they're on for like 4 minutes or 5.
Right.
I mean, that's why it's so hard to pick a presidential candidate, because we don't really know who anyone is.
And television really gives us the image.
They give us an image. So what interests me about this campaign a little bit is that everyone is fixing an image from here on in. There is something negative about every candidate that has come out of the imagery. I'm not saying it's accurate, but it's come out of the imagery. And they now have to fix it. For instance, Mondale and Hart together don't even make it to boring. So they have to fix their image and become exciting. They have to, you will see them before the election doing exciting things like break dancing, I don't know. Something to
Fritz
break.
Mondale break dancing?
Well, you see, they need this kind of sprucing up.
Right.
So they have that problem. The president has what we refer to as the Gilligan's Island syndrome. And that is that he's a great communicator, and no matter how serious or how austere or how articulate he is, we know that he would rather be home watching Gilligan's Island. And they must eradicate that concept. So we will have a very serious... He's never going to take a vacation. He's going to take a working vacation. They have to destroy that image.
Yeah.
Now, Jesse Jackson, he has got a real problem. because he slipped and made this prejudicial statement. You know, the Heine's from Hymietown.
Right.
So, and the press is on him as if he's prejudiced. Now, candidates are never prejudiced. Candidates are perfect.
Right.
When they get into office, they're prejudiced. But they are blameless. They don't do anything wrong from here on in. I guarantee you that before the end of this election, we will see Jackson with a yarmulke and a knish in his hand. And he'll be saying, man, oh man, I love those knishes. Just to eradicate this image of prejudice. I'm telling you that it goes the opposite of the way it is. So people aren't the way you think they are ever. They have to deal with it all the time.
I feel kind of sorry for the candidates because they have to go out and appeal to every group in the world. And they must have some reservations about that sometimes.
Because you scrutinize everything.
Yeah.
For instance, President Reagan is, he's got his own style. You know, when they refer to him as the great communicator, I accept that because he makes everything look terrific, but he does have his own way of wording things. When he placed William Clark in office, instead of, the old days they used to say a guy comes from Harvard, he graduated Yale, he said, we're proud of our appointment of William Clark because he's a third-generation rancher. Right? And the New York Times printed this as if it means something. And I started to scrutinize, well, what is a third-generation rancher? It's a guy who shovels manure. You know, so to me, all those guys in Washington are third-generation ranchers. That's not a bad way.
That's funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
And television really has so much to do with our selection of presidential candidates. I'm not sure that is a good thing.
Yeah, well, yes, it is. You get to see them at least.
Yeah.
But the more we see them, the better off we're going to be. In this interview show, which is not to compare it to anything as important as anything political, but what we do is we interview for a long period of time and then edit it down to 11 or 12 minutes. But the interviews are different in an hour than they are in when I interview someone for a long period of time, it's a better interview, but we just don't have the time for it.
Yeah, we probably should do what I think in England. I don't know what their campaigning time is, but it's certainly much shorter than we have here. It would be nice to cut it down to, say, 3 months or something before the nominating convention. Say, that's it. Do it for 3 months. But it goes on for 7, 8 months,
too long.
And everybody gets tired pretty soon.
Well, the English are better in so many ways. Automatically assume that all their elected officials are perverts, which is healthy, I think, and something that we should adopt as well.
When they have a scandal in England, they have a scandal.
And they have them all the time.
They don't fool around.
No, they don't. They don't even bat an eyelash.
Now, you were up for, you had a series that you made that you had hopes for.
Yes, well.
This year, and like a lot of shows, with a lot of well-known people, it wasn't picked up by any of the networks to...
Yeah, well, why did you bring this up? Did you think I wasn't depressed enough this afternoon?
No, I thought the way my day is going, I might as well bring you up to it. But I'm saying lots of people.
Yes.
Well-known, famous people.
You know, it's interesting. It doesn't make me feel any better.
Yeah.
You know,
other people got their shows.
Yeah, this was an hour series with me playing a detective. I mean, imagine what fun you would have had seeing me on television as a detective.
As a detective?
Yes.
Did you have a working title for this?
Yes, we shot this.
Yeah.
This was, they shoot pilots, don't they?
Yes.
Yes, they do. This was called House Detective. And I was the house detective. It was sort of a Mr. Mom foul play.
Yeah.
And what happened with it is that normally they announced that my series was picked up in the trades because they thought that if they just didn't pick it up, that wouldn't humiliate me enough. So they announced it first. In fact, CBS took me through a real interesting process. First, I directed a pilot for them.
Right.
They passed on that, and they looked at me and they said, wait a second, he looks a little too happy. And they said, why don't you star in a series for us? And then we'll pass on that. Now you're depressed. Now we're happy.
So now they announced that it's going on, and then
taking it away. Yeah, Lord God giveth, the Lord God taketh away.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, thanks. I really, you know, you do so many things in your lifetime that you never know which one is the right one.
The wheel will turn around again this year, though.
Let's hope so.
Well, I certainly do. We'll be right back. Stay where you are.
We have a week for you on TGI4.
Jimmy Stewart, Tom Brokaw.
Jane Pauley, Milton Berle.
And we haven't even told you about Thursday or Friday yet.
It all starts Monday at 4 on TGI4. All righty.
Anyway, I want to mention one more time, your next show is starts June 2nd?
June 2nd, yes.
And you will have...
Bo Derek, Sally Field, Donna Mills, and Jane Seymour.
Okay, I hope it stays on.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for being here, David. Thank you, Ed. You seem
Thank you,
to
John.
enjoy yourself in the sketch.
Thank you.
Tomorrow is... it's too late for the band number, but we'll get it in next week sometime. Thank you. Have a nice weekend, and take care.
An exclusive interview with Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson, Van Halen, and more on Friday Night Videos. Next.